And welcome back to Local News Live. I'm Jessica Bowman. And thanks for joining us here as we talk top story coverage across our nation. They say they're actively working to regain control of our nation's capital. This is turning into an extremely violent situation. You can see the thousands of people right now in front of our nation's capital. Protesters have made their way inside the U.S. Capitol. The Capitol is on lockdown. Shots have been fired. We have just learned, according to NBC News, that the victim shot during today's violent protest inside our nation's capital. The woman has died. Today is a big day for our nation. We are going to hear from President Biden. We are continuing to follow the latest on this breaking news situation out of Uvalde, Texas. We continue our team coverage across the nation as Roe versus Wade is overturned. This is some drone video of several different areas impacted by this massive tornado. Have you been able to speak to anyone on scene that's just kind of really painted the picture of how scary the situation was this morning? Cape Canaveral is the place to be today. Hopefully we're going to see Artemis 1 moon rocket launch today. See the crowd moving. Why is that? We have just learned that they have scrubbed the launch for today. I know thousands of people are without power right now, Gwendolyn. What else can you tell us? The Department of Justice has just released a lot of paperwork involving why the FBI searched former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home. Unexploded devices found at an NYC train station this morning. It is a hot topic, not only in the state of Mississippi, but across our nation. We're talking about Mississippi's abortion ban. It goes into effect in hours. Buildings just cut down to the slab. So many people are coming back to their homes to see what is left. You've been tracking the tropics for quite some time there in South Mississippi. Well, we need tips on how do we stay safe. You were hearing from officials, courtesy of our station WAVE3 News, giving an update on tornado damage and recovery efforts. And we're going to cut away from that weather coverage to bring you this live coverage unfolding from Washington, D.C. right now. The president and vice president step to the podium as they remember the attacks 1 year ago on the U.S. Capitol. We take you live right now to Washington, D.C. I want you to go ahead and take a look below me. You're seeing this video coming in from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's visit overseas. Our team coverage continues from Uvalde, Texas. You have so much information, Jerry, but right now, let's talk about exactly where you are and what is expected to happen at this particular location in Uvalde today. Is there any way that you can flip the camera and kind of show us what the scene looks like right now? The U.S. will welcome up to 100,000 refugees from Ukraine, and this comes as more than 3 million people forced to flee Ukraine. Cody Fisher joining us now live from the scene after a medical helicopter. The pilot has crashed on its way to an emergency situation. Cody, I'll send it to you. And you were just watching a live coverage from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tears of emotions. No words can really describe what we're feeling. Those are just some of the words that leaders from St. Francis Health System were saying. Tornado warning in effect for several areas, as well as 6 other alerts. Let's go ahead and get straight to the meteorologist from our station at WJHG for continuing live coverage. I want to show you this live look that's coming in. You see President Joe Biden making his way to center stage. These residents in this area in the 9th Ward, Arabi, Chalmette, St. Menard Parish, these areas, unfortunately, so familiar with damage, so familiar with destruction, so familiar with heartbreak. Meanwhile, we're going to turn our attention to some more video that is really capturing the attention of so many people across our nation. Do you feel for those women in the rural parts of Mississippi who don't have the luxury to go to Mississippi's only abortion clinic beginning tomorrow? So I am curious, Senator Hickman, I do have to know, what is your prediction on what the Mississippi Supreme Court will do with this case? What are your thoughts? Right now we have some live coverage as we talk about this winter storm, this snow forecast, and I'm joined with a group of our great television meteorologists from different areas of the region. Amarillo, Texas, I mean, y'all do have some cold temperatures, but wow, this winter storm definitely making an impact there, right? What are residents saying? So, Ted, there's always a symbolism kind of involved in the design. Let's talk a little more about that regarding this memorial. You have to have so many people apply. How do you kind of navigate through that process? Are certain people selected? How are they selected? How do you kind of weed through it all? Let's talk about getting a plan together. I know many of our meteorologists, yourself included, from Great Television and the First Alert Weather Centers, always telling our viewers, hey, make sure you have a plan in place. Include that NOAA weather radio. Kind of explain why it's important to have a plan in place, Brandon. Give us an overview on just kind of what we're seeing as a whole for the U.S. What else do you want our viewers to know when it comes to cyber threats? Because, you know, it's continuously happening. Artemis 1 had to be scrubbed today. However, the exciting part is that Huntsville plays a huge role in Artemis 1. Gina Benitez, thanks for joining us here on Local News Live. Take it away. Tell us why Huntsville is so important. You meteorologists from Great Television, y'all have all the magic, so I know you can make that sunshine come back, Adrian. KCTV just made me super excited about football season. It's here. And I can't wait for all of our fun stories there. Of course, all of our great television stations, our sports coverage, it's going to continue through the season. It's going to be a fun one. And right now we are talking about a huge historic settlement involving the state of Connecticut as well as the electronic cigarette company. We're talking about Juul Labs. Joining us to talk more about this settlement and how Connecticut plays a role, Roger Susanen. Well, I don't know if you're ready for this. I have some video to not only show you, but show all of you at home. Check this out. We are talking about a big old gator. I tell you what, I promise, I know I'm not the only one. I learned something new every week when I talk to you. And today it's been like multiple things. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to go check out some of your video that you were showing viewers this morning just so we can get a better idea what it looks like there. Can you believe that internet, 25 gigabytes per second, it's gonna cost you a pretty penny. Curious though, Clay, you mentioned that you had been on a swamp tour. How was that? Was it fun?
Oh, it's always a blast.
Kind of a myth out there that some people think once they get the flu vaccination that they're actually going to get the flu, they're going to get sick, they're going to have symptoms, they're not going to be able to go to work, their children are not going to be able to go to school. Did they mention anything about that? This morning we are joined with our favorite reporter from WFSB out of Hartford, Connecticut, Roger Susanen. And you know, I shouldn't say that, Roger, but you know, we can't help it.
It's true, Jessica, and we all know. Don't worry, I won't tell all those.
Okay, don't tell anybody I said that.
Don't tell anybody I said this, but you're my favorite Local News Live anchor.